Chapter 32, the dental office. First impressions are made as soon as patients walk in the door. Patients often judge the quality of care by the appearance of the dental office. The design of the dental office. There are designated rooms throughout a dental office. Size of the office will be determined on the number of dentists and dental hygienists who are practicing within the office. So for example, if it's a private office, usually a private office will have about one dentist, maybe two, like an associate dentist. So maybe that associate dentist is there most of the time, or sometimes they'll just have certain days that they come into the office. Also, if it's a private office, sometimes they'll only have one hygienist. So the office will be designed, according to how many people they have working there. So this is an example of a dental office. So this is the front office or the reception, and this is where the patients will be greeted as soon as they walk into the door. These are the operatories here. Okay, those are also called the patient rooms. This is the sterilization area. So the only thing that goes on over here is sterilization of instruments. D is the utility room, and here is where you'll find sometimes the vacuum, the broom. You'll find the compressor in there, and the compressor is what makes all the machines and the water throughout the office, or the water that the high speeds and all that stuff uses. This is what you'll be turning off every night. The X-ray room, which is E here. So this is where you'll find probably like the panoramic machine, and the panoramic machine is a machine where you stand up and it goes around your head and it takes an X-ray of all your teeth at the same time. The supply room, which is F. The supply room is where you'll find all the supplies that you'll need for the dental. Where you'll find your cotton rolls, your gauze, anything that's disposable, like your HVE tips, your saliva ejector tips, anything like that. The consultation room. Okay, here's where the doctor or the office manager will have consultations with the patients, depending on what the patients want to talk to the dentist about. But usually dental offices won't have a consultation room. The consult will actually be within the operatory. So the patient will be in the dental chair, and then they'll talk to the dentist or to the assistant. Some offices will have a lab. So H is like a lab, where they'll have maybe a lab tech that will do temporaries, or they'll do fixing of partials or dentures, etc. I is technology. Okay, so I don't know if this is an area for like where all the computer stuff is going to be taking place, anything that is related with like internet, Wi-Fi, all of that stuff. And then hand pieces and small equipment, which is this stuff over here. And of course, all that stuff varies. It depends of the dental office and the layout that the doctor wants. This is only an example of a dental office. So the reception area is where patients are received, greeted pleasantly, and made to feel welcome. The reception area is not a waiting room, which basically means the reception area is where the first place where the doctor comes in. Not the doctor, the patient comes in. They're greeted. They say, I have an appointment. I would like to make an appointment. I would like to speak to this. I would like, etc. It's where they're giving paperwork, but it's not a waiting room. The waiting area would be separate from there. So things to remember: keep the area clean, ensure the adequate seating, maintain up-to-date reading materials, so magazines or any pamphlets, make sure that they're up to date. Provide place for coats and umbrellas, and offer a children's corner. So if your dentist caters to children, or just they want to have an area for the children to entertain themselves while they wait for their parents to be called, or etc., they'll offer a children's corner with little toys here and there. Keep in mind though that now with all the COVID stuff, the last time that I took my son to his dentist, they have removed all the toys from the waiting area. So anything that people touch a lot, they removed it from the waiting area. And a lot of a lot of offices now, they won't even let the patients wait in the waiting area. You have to wait out in your car, and then you'll be called in when you're ready to be seen. So the administrative area, this runs the management or the business side of the practice. The equipment in this area is usually a desk, a secured area for patient records and business materials, telephone system, computers, photocopier, and fax machine. And you can also find that in the reception area in the front desk. Organization and design of the business area. So this could be like, let's say, the office manager's office, or it could be even the doctor's office. And this is, of course, the filing room where they keep all the patient charts. So the treatment area is also referred to as the dental operatory. All clinical treatment is provided here. So the design goals provide comfort and mobility for the dental team, provide privacy and comfort for the dental patients, and enhance use of dental equipment through time management and efficient techniques. So the operatories, or the treatment area, or the patient rooms, or etc., however you want to call them, it's designed depending on what the doctor has in mind. And obviously it has to be designed so that the doctor and the dental assistant can move with ease. They're not getting caught up in stuff. There's enough space for them to move around if need be. Also for the privacy and comfort of the dental patients. Although where I used to work, like I said before, the operatories were side to side. The only thing that divided the operatory was like a tiny wall in the center. So if there was a patient in the front room, you would have to walk, and your room was the second room, or the last room. You would have to walk in front of the first room if there was a patient already there to get to your room, and that's kind of defeats the whole privacy thing. So this is the treatment area continued, and this is only an example of what the treatment room might look like. I did go to an office before. I believe it was Heartland Dental, and their operatories look like this. So the computer would be here, the mouse, the keyboard. The doctor sometimes would work off of this. The sink would be here. The dental assistant would sit here. This is the operator chair. So this is the doctor's chair, the light, the x-ray machine that you pull out and and you can use the x-rays here. And of course the patient chair. Central sterilization, specific area where instruments are maintained, cleaned, sterilized, and stored for reuse. Divided into a contaminated area and a clean area. It provides extra storage for supplies and should be kept organized and clean at all times. So the sterilization, or the lab rooms, well, not really called the lab rooms, but they're called the sterilization area. They have a contaminated area and a clean area. So any dirty instruments or anything that's dirty will be put on the contaminated area, and anything that has just been scrubbed or cleaned or sterilized out of the autoclave would be in the clean area. And there you can also find extra storage for supplies. You can find extra instruments. You can find extra supplies if you don't really have a supply room per se. And it should be kept organized and cleaned at all times, just because it's easier to find, especially if you have to walk out of a procedure and you have to go really quickly. That's why it needs to be kept organized, so you can find things quickly. So the dental laboratory, organized area away from the patient where the dentist and dental assistant perform laboratory procedures. Specific items found: workbenches, storage cabinets, a model trimmer, and you will learn about this once you get into lab. And a model trimmer is where you actually trim the models that you will take. First, the alginate impression. You will pour those models in stone, and then those stones need to be trimmed before sent over to the lab, or before you do the bleaching trays, or before you do retainers for braces if you ever work for an orthodontist. The dental lathe, which is it's used to polish stuff, and dental laboratory materials. So the dentist's private office for personal use by the dentist can also be used as a consultation room with patients. Specific items found there are desk, telephone, computer, and extra chairs. Where I used to work at the dentist's private office, was shared by most of the dentists. Where I worked was a very big office, so a few of the dentists and including the specialists that traveled day to day, they wouldn't stay in the same office every day, would share that private office, and it had a few desks and chairs and computers. And then there were some other offices on the other side of the office also that some of the other doctors would use. The dental staff lounge is a designated area for use by clinical and business staff during breaks or lunchtime. Specific items found are tables and chairs, a small refrigerator, or it could just be a regular standard size refrigerator, a microwave, locker or locked cabinet for personal belongings, coffee or food. So that's basically the break room. Office environment. Maintaining a dental office throughout the day involves providing a comfortable, organized, and clean environment. Besides daily maintenance, the office should have decor and appearance that is up to date. Temperature and air exchange, lighting, wall and floor coverings, traffic control, sound control, and privacy. So let's talk about temperature and air exchange. It is important to maintain a comfortable temperature for your patients and staff. The reception area should be about 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and the clinical area should be between 68 degrees to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. This can vary depending on what the doctor wants. 72 is very cold, actually. And actually, when you go into a dental office, they do maintain the temperature very cold because the cold harbors less bacteria. And you'll always hear the patients complain that it's so cold. So most of the time, the offices will have blankets that they'll provide the patients while they're in the treatment rooms. Air exchange should remain constant throughout the office. Odors can be offensive if air circulation is not adequate. Lighting. All areas of the office must have appropriate lighting for the task to be completed. The reception area, table, and floor lamps. Business, clinical, laboratory, and sterilization areas, fluorescent lighting. Clinical area, additional lighting for procedures, hence the overhead light that comes attached to the chair. Wall and floor coverings. Colors should be calming, relaxing, and not too busy. The wall covering may consist of paint, wallpaper, or both. Floor covering. Durable high traffic carpet in reception, administrative, and private office areas. And then a more suitable material for infection control, such as linoleum or tile, is more appropriate in clinical and laboratory areas because we said that carpets inside the operatories or the patient rooms, it's not sanitary because stuff can fall on the floor like blood, saliva, splatter, and stuff like that, and it's not easy to clean. Traffic control. The reception area, front desk, and hallway should be arranged so that the traffic flow is efficient to all areas of the office. Separate areas of the front desk should be available for patients to check in and check out. In the back, the clinical, sterilization, and laboratory areas should be designed for easy entry into and out of areas by dental team members. Sound control. Specific sounds associated with a dental office can present a negative association. So the reception area, the business office, and clinical areas should be arranged so that the minimal sound is carried from one room to the other. Provide distraction from dental sounds with the use of music. So usually when you go into the dental office, you will hear music playing, like over over speakers, or a TV will be on in the reception area, loud enough for everybody in the waiting area to hear it. And sometimes people in the back can hear it also. Privacy. Certain areas in the office require privacy between a patient and staff member. The administrative area is important for discussion of financial matters. So in case if you want to talk money matters with the patient, like how much is your treatment plan going to cost you? How much do you need to give down today? Would you like to make a payment plan? Are we going to do care credit, etc.? Clinical areas require privacy in order to provide an area in which to complete treatment and talk in privacy without interruption. And in the dentist's office is privacy away from patient flow. Clinical equipment. The basic equipment found in each operatory includes the following: the patient dental chair, the operator's stool, dental assistant stool, dental unit, oral evacuation equipment, curing light, the amalgamator, the dental radiography unit. So the patient dental chair. Features should be designed for patient comfort and aid in a neutral position for the operator. Patient chairs are designed to be seamless with few visible mechanical parts for easy cleaning and maintenance, because what? The more grooves, the more buttons it has, the more little holes, grooves, indentations or anything, stuff will get in there and it'll be harder to clean. Specific features. Full support for patient knees, bottom, lumbar region of the back, and head. The headrest can be adjusted to accommodate positioning and height of the patient. So the headrest should be able to either move forward or backward, and it should be able to go up and down. Okay, because sometimes all patients are not the same height. So sometimes you'll get really tall patients, sometimes you'll get average patients, sometimes you'll get children. So that headrest, if the patient is tall enough to reach the headrest, will need to be adjusted. Comfortable movable armchairs. So most dental offices have armchairs that actually either move out sideways or they move up and down, and this helps the patient get in and out of the chair more easily. Either a finger or foot operated control system to adjust the chair for treatment. So it'll either have buttons on the side where you push with a finger, and that can make the chair go up, down, move the back part back or forward, or with a foot control system that's usually on the floor. Controls for adjusting the patient's position. So this is very important for you guys to know. Okay, the upright position, the back of the chair is upright at a 90-degree angle. The supine position, the patient is lying down and his or her head and knees are approximately at the same level. So it's basically as if they were laying down. Subsupine, we all know that sub means under because it's a sub, like a submarine. Subsupine position, the patient's head is lower than his or her feet. And for a subsupine position, this position is good if you're working on uppers on the maxillary, because the doctor can actually see better. He doesn't have to strain his neck as much. Also, be careful when you do put a patient in the subsupine position. It's not the most comfortable position for them. And when you are done with treatment and you put the patient upright, they should not get up from the chair right away, because sometimes they get dizzy and can actually fall over. So if you have a patient in this position, or even if you have them in a supine position, once you put them sitting upright, you should make them wait a minute or two before letting them get off the chair. So this is an example of a patient dental chair. Okay, this is the unit where the tray goes, the hand pieces go. This is the controls here. This is the rheostat. So if you ever go into the labs and one of the instructors tells you, please step on the rheostat, okay, this is where you're stepping. And this is what controls the hand pieces, okay? This is the overhead light. So this is what you as the assistant, you will be making sure that you you direct it correctly depending on the arch where you're working at. Most dental office now don't have this anymore, but this was the sink where the patient would spit in there. And this is just the chair, okay? And this is right now it's at an upright position. Operator stool. The type of stool designed to support the body for a prolonged period of fixed muscular activity. Specific features: a large seat and back, easy adjustment for back support, a seat that is easy to lower and raise, and casters to make it easy to move around the patient. So casters just means wheels. That's just what it means. These are casters, and this is the operator stool. So you know this is the operator stool because it doesn't have that arm or the abdominal rest. It just has the back rest. The doctor doesn't need anything else. And these are the levers to either bring it up or bring it down. So now we're going to talk about the dental assistance stool. The type of stool that must provide stability, mobility, and comfort, allowing a proper fatigue-reducing posture. The specific features are twists and turns to help the assistant reach countertops and shelves, provides an adjustable foot platform or foot ring, firm, secure cushioning in the seat, abdominal bar, positioned for support of the upper body and arm, casters on which the chair moves easily. So this is an example of the assistant stool, and this is the abdominal bar. This will go across your stomach. This is the lever to put the chair up and down, and this is your footrest here. Okay, this is where ideally where you should have your feet on to rest. But ideally you should have one foot on, be able to reach the floor, because sometimes you'll need to move the chair side to side if there's something that you need to reach instead of getting up all the time. Also keep in mind, if you don't have a foot on the floor and you actually lean on this too much, the chair can tip over. You definitely don't want that to happen to you. The dental unit provides the necessary electrical and air-operated mechanics to the hoses, attachments, and working parts of the unit. The type of unit selected depends on the space available, the operator's preferred method of delivery, whether the operator is left-handed or right-handed, whether the operator works primarily with or without a chair side assistance. So there are doctors that don't even use assistants. So this is the dental unit. This is where all the high speeds go. This is the air water syringe, and this is the low speed or the slow speed. These are all little buttons that make this move and make different things going on here. It's been a very long time since I've seen a dental office that uses one like this. Where I used to work, they didn't have this. The high speeds, all this stuff was actually attached to the counter. All this stuff we didn't need. Delivery systems. The dental unit can be mounted on the floor, the wall, or most often the side of the dental chair. Front delivery, positioned over the patient's lap. The side delivery, positioned at either side of the patient's chair, and rear delivery, which is positioned behind the dental chair. Okay, and then a rheostat, like I said before, a foot control device placed on the floor near the operator to control the function of the dental handpieces. With foot pressure, slow speed and high speed handpieces are controlled. Water lines. A dental unit is designed with water lines that carry the water through air water syringe and dental handpieces. The use of water during a dental procedure is crucial for keeping the tooth clean and cool against the heat caused by mechanical removal of the tooth structure. Maintenance and cleanliness are high priorities in the use of water lines, and this is what we spoke about in chapter 24, I believe. Air water syringe. So attached to the dental unit, essential for every procedure, functions in three ways. It delivers a stream of water, a stream of air, and delivers a combined spray of air and water if you press both buttons at the same time. The trickiest thing that you will ever learn how to use is the air water syringe, because it's sometimes you have to learn how to press it at just the right pressure, because if you press it too hard, the stream of water will just shoot right back into your face. Air, not so much. Well, sometimes if you use air to blow your temporaries or anything like that, if you blow it too hard and you're not holding the temporary correctly, it'll blow it right out of your hand and probably into the sink and down the drain, and then you have to start over again. That has happened to me too many times, that more than I care to say, but it does happen. You don't want to spray too much water with the air, because then it'll go everywhere. The tip of the air water syringe is classified as semi-critical equipment, and it is to be replaced at every procedure. So the tip is actually the only thing that is replaceable or removable in tips. The handle and the tubing are to be covered with a plastic barrier because, of course, they cannot be sterilized. So this is an example of the air water syringe. And like I said, it can have a metal tip, which can be sterilized in the autoclave, or it can have a disposable plastic tip, which can be discarded after each patient. And then it has two little buttons here on the top. One button is for air, one button is for water. The operating light. It's used to illuminate the oral cavity. Halogen bulbs are used in most operating lights. The light is very bright, and care is taken to avoid shining it into the patient's
Why does she keep calling him?
Attached to a flexible arm that is track mounted from the ceiling or attached to a wall or post mounted on the system. The assistant will position the light on the patient's chest approximately 25 to 30 inches below the patient's. The light is complete when it has cooled, because if the bulb needs to be replaced, turn off the light and allow for removing it. Halogen bulbs are to be replaced with a gloved hand. Sometimes those bulbs need to be actually replaced by somebody that actually knows about that stuff. Sometimes they cannot be replaced by the dental assistant alone. The oral evacuation system, a means of removing water, saliva, blood, and other fragments during a dental procedure. Two types of evacuation systems: the saliva ejector, which provides removal of the patient's excess fluids from the mouth; high volume evacuators, HVE, more powerful than the saliva ejector and helps to maintain a clear field.
Sister, my idol, thank you for mercilessly hacking me in our every game of one-on-one. I'm the shooter I am now because driving on you paralyzed the young me. Still does. Uncle Julius.
Jessica or Amber? Is it Amber?
Yes.
Amber, you need to turn off your mic.
Oh, I thought it was off. I'm sorry.
No. All right, the curing light. A wand-like attachment used to harden or cure light-sensitive dental materials. The components include the protective shield handle and the trigger switch. So light curing units can use halogen-based light emitting diode or LED, plasma or laser technology. The is to be the doctor's not going to like that. The curing lights, usually they have like the front piece, it's like glass. So be very careful, because if you drop it and that piece breaks off, you actually have to replace the whole thing, and they're very expensive. Many factors can affect the curing of a dental material. So keep the light tip clean and free of scratches. Position the light tip at a correct distance from the correct orientation to the material. Maintain the bulb and filter in good working order, and establish appropriate curing times for each material used in the dental. Usually it's like about 20 seconds 2 times. It all depends. The doctor will let you know. So now we're going to talk about the amalgamator, okay? It's an electrical machine used to triturate. Triturate just means to like mix, to shake very fast and mix dental materials by means of vigorous shaking of the capsule that holds the ingredients. So the capsule inside, it has like a powder, and then you put it inside the amalgamator and it shakes it very, very, very fast, and it mixes the powder. And when you open the little capsule, it's going to look like a little silver ball, and that's what you're actually going to put inside the instrument, and you're going to give it to the doctor for silver fillings. So the amalgamator can be mounted under a countertop or the edge of a mobile cabinet, or stored in the top drawer of a mobile cabinet. Specific settings on the amalgamator will correspond to the manufacturer's directions regarding mixing of that specific dental material. Okay, and this is the amalgamator machine. So basically you open this lid, you put the little capsule in here and between two little clips, and you're gonna press the start. This is the buttons that go up and down. So let's say you're gonna put 8 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever. You press the little up arrow, you're gonna press start, and then this is gonna start shaking really fast. And this is gonna make a kind of like a loud noise. It's gonna make the whole count, and then it'll stop. You'll open the lid, you'll take the capsule out, you'll open it, you'll put it on a piece of paper, on a pad, or on the tray, and then you'll see that it's like a tiny little silver bowl. It'll be mixed already. Radiography unit. The master switch of the unit may be turned on safely at the beginning of the day and may be left on throughout the day. If the radiography unit requires maintenance, it first must be disconnected from its electrical source. Box for radiographs. So if your office is not doing like the traditional x-rays anymore, like the film ones, you won't have a view box for radiographs. It consists of a bright white light source with a frosted glass or plastic cover commonly attached to the dental cabinetry or mounted flush on the wall. Radiographs are placed on the view box for evaluation, and it's just basically like a very it's a box. It has a bright white light. You put the film in the front of it, and that's how the doctors will see it. But now if you're going into an office that does digital x-rays, the digital x-rays will go automatically into the computer and you'll view it like that. Care of dental equipment. So dental equipment is expensive, it's complex, and it's delicate. It must be used carefully and maintained properly according to the manufacturer's instructions. Dental assistants who work in the clinical area share responsibility for routine care in this area of the office. Larger practices may contract to have maintenance personnel provide this service. Consists of two parts: the compressor, which creates the flow of air, and the vacuum tank, which screens the flow of air to create suction. And if this central vacuum compressor is not turned on at the beginning of the day, guess what? You can't work because nothing is going to work. So whoever gets into the office at the beginning of the day usually turns this on, and the last person to leave at the end of the night has to make sure that this is off, because what happens is if it's left on overnight, it can overheat and it can mess it up. The central air compressor, it compressed air for the air water syringe and driven hand pieces. Because of the noise level and for safety reasons, the compressor is placed away from the clinical in a closet somewhere towards the back. Maintenance includes changing filters and occasionally checking in the lines. Disposable trash provide a filtering mechanism for the saliva ejector and because sometimes they will teach you how to clean these things out in the office. Something or a designated person that will do this. Morning routine for dental assistants. All right, turn on the master switches for the central air compressor and vacuum units. Like I said, ensure that the dental treatment rooms are ready for patient care. Recheck the appointments scheduled for the first patient. Some offices, they'll have to call the morning huddle, have it like 10 to 15 minutes before the first patient is seen. And basically, the morning huddle is like a fast, quick meeting at the beginning of the day. And it tells the assistant or the team is for the day. If it's a very production driven office, production means to sell treatment to the patient. They're going to say, well, today $1,000 or whatever it is. That'll be what the morning huddle is about. If there was anything or like a meeting at the end of the day, it'll be said in the morning huddle, etc. So the laboratory exposure control cleanup. Preparation of all equipment before you leave. You have to make sure everything's off. The compressors, the X-ray machines, etc. All the computers, the panoramic machine, anything that you have to turn on the day. stocked for the next day. So make sure that you have enough cotton rolls, enough gauze, that you have enough anesthetic carpules, that you have tongue depressors, that you have Q-tips, that you have floss, that everything that should be in your drawers are in your drawers, because you don't want to be rushing the next day to get all that stuff done, and you don't want to be in the middle of procedure and actually open a drawer and realize that you're missing something and have to get up during the middle of the procedure to go get that. Ensure that the instruments, patient records, and laboratory work are ready for the next day, and that the sterilization center has been cleaned. So do not leave any dirty instruments laying in the sterilization area to be cleaned the next day. Do it before you leave, and then just leave sometimes people will leave the autoclave running for the next day, and then in the morning they'll open it up and all the instruments will be cleaned. Or they'll just leave all the stuff on top of the autoclave, and as soon as they come in the morning, they'll put it to be cleaned, and by the time that the first patient or the second patient of the day comes in, all the instruments will be clean. But of course, if you don't have any instruments at all for the first patients of the day, do not leave it to do it in the morning, because then how are you going to see the patients? And guess what? The doctor is going to be so upset. Ensure that the treatment rooms are ready for use. Place soil protective clothing in the appropriate container. And that is all.